What's up, everybody? It's K4K Crypto here. We're going to talk about some heavy stuff today, okay? It's going to be some about Pulsechain, and we're also just going to talk about some stuff in general that hopefully will open your mind a bit. Maybe unlock some things that didn't make sense before, and now, holy guacamole. So, there is a spectrum, okay, of how much a person has freedom, and what is that spectrum? Well, freedom freedom is, are you completely free or are you a slave? Now, what makes someone a slave or a free man? Well, a 0% taxed, 0% theft man is 100% free because 100% of his labor and the fruits of his labor he gets to keep. Okay? And then you have someone over here, 100% tax or theft. They, all the work that they put into their everyday life goes to someone else. They are a slave. So when you think about it that way, taxation and theft of property is what decides what percent slave are you in today's world. And you might think, well, I've been taxed my whole life. I don't feel like a slave. Have you ever felt, have you ever had the choice? Have you ever had a chance at something better? If you didn't have to be taxed, wouldn't you have more buying power, more say in this world? These governments, these institutions are just other people. It's just another business. They've just got this monopoly over violence. They're the ones who can legally do violence. I mean, it's good in some ways. If someone breaks into your house, you hope you have someone you can call and they can do the violence for you, so you don't have to always be defending yourself. You can have someone else do it. That's just kind of the apparatus we've come to as humans so far that works okay. But they have that ability, but it's just people, okay? And the worst thing that's come out of all this is the ability to just print money, okay? So these people known as the Federal Reserve have a one node database in the Federal Reserve, which by the way is not a government entity. There's nothing federal about it, and there's no reserve. Okay, that sounds pretty scammy to me. Anyway, they keep track of everyone's money on an SQL database on a computer in their building. It's not government controlled, and they can arbitrarily increase how much money goes into the market. They're just like, you know what? 5 trillion this year. 5 trillion the next year. Printing money, do you think that adds value to the world? Does printing money add value to the world? No, that's not. You're not making people more wealthy by creating dollars out of thin air. It's it's akin to in the 1600s whenever Europeans went over to, I'm not sure what exact African country, but they went over there and they realized, wow, these Africans, they think these glass beads are valuable. Well, we have a glass beads manufacturing plant back in Europe. It was hard to manufacture beads in Africa, but the Africans didn't know that these Europeans were bringing over boats. Like the hulls are just full of glass beads manufactured at cheap cost. They aren't providing value to these Africans. Money is just supposed to be, it greases the wheels so that you can, it's supposed to be the most valuable asset. That's what it's supposed to be. Because you're supposed to be able to trade it for any other good. Okay? So if someone has the ability to create that out of thin air arbitrarily, if it's not hard to create, or if the supply can be changed in any simple way, then someone just has this ability to extract all of the actual wealth of the world, which is everyone's goods and services that they create for other people through their hard work and time and effort. If someone just creates money at an insane rate, like if I just started up a printer today in my room and I was like, you know what, $10 million, that's just coming to me. You know what? Make it 10. We'll make it $5 trillion. Me, Colton, I got five. I got $5 trillion. I printed it. How much value did I add to the world? Why is it any different when the central bank does it? It's not. It's just legalized counterfeiting, and they criminalize. and so, and so, inflation is just legalized counterfeiting, and counterfeiting is criminalized inflation. Okay, this is insane. I don't know why I didn't come to this understanding sooner, but what the central bank essentially does is they dilute everyone else's money, which is it should be basically the this culmination of everyone who, like, all the work you've done in your whole life. You've probably transformed it into money, your highest value property, because you're able to turn that into goods and services that you need, because society has developed money as basically a psychotechnology to be able to trade more efficiently. It's not efficient to trade one house for 11 cars. Like that's too hard to do. And it really slows down trading and commerce when it's much easier to come up with this standard money, like gold they used for 5,000 years, and then they used paper receipts that were as good as gold. And then we got to this, whatever this is, where someone can just, it's not backed by anything. You can't get any of the gold. You just have this piece of paper that if you're ever holding a dollar, someone else with the database keys just goes, your dollar can buy less now. That's, you're cheating. This isn't how money is supposed to be. Luckily, we have crypto now. We didn't have that before, and so Bitcoin was this huge breakthrough. But now we have crypto, okay? You know what I said earlier? I said you don't want it to be easy to create. Now people get this confused with, well, I can start a coin in 5 minutes. That's easy. Yeah, but if you set parameters that cannot be changed and they're immutable, once it's created and distributed, the people in that system, nobody has this upper hand of arbitrarily increasing who gets this extra supply and who doesn't. All the rules are set out from the get-go. It's just better money. It's like if you had gold, but no one could make more of it, and you knew for a fact nobody could do that. And so, like, even US dollars, if you could do it with US dollars, and you knew for a fact, just imagine it was impossible. Like if you tried to do it, you instantly died, so no one did it, something like that. And so, since we are able to do that, and no one can make more, no one can get diluted, and so the value of money, get this, it would increase over time, okay? Which means prices of things would go down, okay? Because as humans become more efficient and we develop better technologies, prices should be deflationary, not inflationary naturally. With human innovation and technology we come up with, everything gets easier to do and we make things more affordable, more cheap. It doesn't get more expensive when you come up with a new technology that makes things easier. You're not like, oh, now it's more expensive to make corn. No, we have like these huge Omega tractors now. You don't have to go handpick it. You've all this unlocked human potential from technology because now all those guys that had to work the fields because you had to eat food every day and that was the only way you could do it back then. And now you're just like, hey, this tractor does like 90% of the work now. You just need one guy to do it. All those people's lives have now been improved and they can go work on some other innovation or some other skill instead of having to work in the fields now. And so the prices of all of these things should be going down. But why does it continue to go up regardless? And we do see this back and forth of, oh, prices are up, prices are down. You know what's not helping that? inflation. Inflation is just someone. It's like playing Monopoly, and the one guy you're playing with, he just decides to pay you with money that he doesn't actually have. Okay, he didn't earn it through a productive way. He didn't provide value to anyone. He didn't create something that helps. He's not building the wealth of the world like everyone else is. Everyone who's out doing work, they're providing goods and services. And that's making the world a better place. When we take our self-owned, like only I control myself. Only I can move my right hand. Only you can move your right hand. No one has more claim to your body than you do. It would be a ridiculous claim because anyone who would argue that, the fact that you're arguing just makes the point for me. Like you can't even sell your consciousness away. Only you have that. And so it's crazy that we've just been going along with this central banking system for so long. These people, and I don't think they have ill intent. It just kind of the market tries to move towards efficiency. And so these separated banks that could fail on their own and stuff and took more security because you need multiple buildings to protect the gold asset inside, and they all have their own coins and stuff. It made sense to centralize it. But as soon as and that introduces counterparty risk. But it makes sense to put it all in one place and then issue out notes just for efficiency wise. You'd have less waste. But when you allow them to arbitrarily print money, in printing, I don't mean they're making bags of money and then they give it to people. That's not how it works. They just enter in the database, this is how much money we're going to credit to these banks at pretty much zero fees. Like, they don't charge them anything. And it buys up assets. It'll buy up equities and other stuff on the market. And so that's why you see the appreciation of houses and all this other stuff, because people whoever's closest to that money of the things that actually get bought up from the new money benefit the most. And so who benefits the least? These are the victims. People living paycheck to paycheck. They're not able to invest in assets that inflate in price over time from the printing. Retirees, pensioners, people on disability who, they can't do anything crazy for society if they're on disability or something like that. And so they only just have their money in dollars. And so the central bank is just absorbing this, it's extracting this value from people, their property, their money. No one should be able to just change the money supply at any time. People get upset in these cryptocurrencies when there's an inflation bug. It's like the worst thing possible. You're like, oh my gosh, 10% inflation bug. Wow, they dumped the value to zero. Everyone who was holding it got wrecked. Why do you guys think it's okay that the central bank does this? Every year. We're just like, 2% inflation. That means in 50 years, you lose half your value. If you have more inflation than that, which it probably actually is, you're losing value like insanely fast. You can't get out of dollars fast enough. Money is not meant to be that way. It's your property. It's something you've worked for. You put your time and energy into this thing. And it should allow you to go and purchase things that other people have worked hard for, because you guys all agree that we've all put effort into improving the world, and now we deserve to be able to buy some things from the market. And prices still go up and down and stuff. It's not like, if we didn't print money, then what would the prices do? Everything would just be cheaper, okay? In money form. Everyone just thinks in dollars because it's easier. It's because you don't actually think about this. You don't actually want dollars. It's not what you want. You want what the dollars can give you in services and goods. So you don't actually want a table. You want what the table can do for you. And so, just for cognitive expedience, we use the term dollars because it's just faster to be like, oh, $100,000, that can buy a house or something like that. And so people, ugh. Anyway, let's get to crypto, I guess. I hope that kind of explains some of the terrible parts of central banking and how it's basically been stealing from people their whole lives. And if you're stealing people's monetary value, the money they've worked for, and money just saves you time. Money is giving you time back. When you buy a car, it's because it saves you time to travel, between it can save you days, months, weeks, instead of flying somewhere, if you had to walk there, well, that's going to take you a month's journey. Okay, so you saved yourself a month of time, your most valuable resource. When you steal people's money, you're stealing people's time away. And time is, it's so valuable. And these people they're just like, you know what, we get to inflate it, and the people closest get to benefit, and the poorest, most illiterate people do not get to be a part of this. Like, just printer machine. It's crazy. And it's not it's not how it's supposed to be, guys. Money is supposed to be so like now that we have crypto, we actually have hope. It's awesome. So we talked about how technology and human innovation helps reduce prices over time because, we just come up with a better way, and so the money we have is actually more valuable now because it can buy more because it's cheaper to produce those things. And the money is scarce. When money is scarce, everything is abundant. When money is abundant, everything else looks scarce. Okay? So, money is real messed up right now with the US dollar. It's really gross. So, what's the alternative? What are we going to do? What are we going to do about this, Colton? You're talking about all this terrible stuff. Give us some hopium, There is hope. I'm so excited. Like my world has been shook by my understanding of the central bank. I don't know if I've talked about it, well enough in this video, but my full understanding is now giving me more hope than ever in cryptocurrency in general, and especially Richard Hart projects. I am so excited to try out this deflationary currency that is going to be the Pulsechain and pulsex, because we saw the value. Like, you can see the value of basically whenever there's inflation, it's bad. Okay, it's bad for price. Price inflates. If you're not holding something that also inflates in value, you're just losing buying power. And so, if you are holding something that's actually deflationary and that's your money, wow. So that should only increase in buying power over time as more and more people adopt it as well, because it's immediately scarce. It immediately is portable. It's immediately divisible. It's immediately durable. It's not unstealable, but it's hard to be taken away. And so you have all these amazing attributes of money, and it's not fake or not. Like, if it's fake or not, people can't really send you fake stuff for the real stuff you're sending because you're trading in a pool that only allows the right coins. So you can't really get scammed by getting the wrong stuff. Like with gold, you can have counterfeit gold where it's lead but gold plated. With dollars, they have counterfeit dollars. It's hard to, it takes time to figure it out. In crypto, you're just like, nope, that's the right contract. That's the correct stuff. I've never been scammed that way. And so crypto is just the new better money. Crypto is like the light the light at the end of the tunnel. Central banking has been like destroying the world by it. It's like having a cheater in a game. The whole game they've just been, I have more money than you. I'm just gonna keep making your money's value diminish, and there's nothing you can do about it. That guy just has this extra ability. You don't have it. You're at a disadvantage. It's not fair. Now, I normally don't like talking about stuff that there's nothing you can do about it, because obviously there's nothing to do about it. Don't be upset. But what we have now is cryptocurrency. And lucky us, we have Richard, who is basically a proponent for the best, uh, human rights. He's all about human rights, and so he is leading the charge in protecting human rights. It's not just a meme that when you sacrifice, it's for human liberties. I think he really does believe in this stuff, and he finds it disgusting that governments are locking people down on a whim, telling people they have to get these you have to get jabbed with this needle that hasn't been tested, and all this other. You can't leave your house after a certain amount of PM or something. What? You can't go into restaurants. This is against our rights. We have the right to assemble. We are not controlled. We're not cattle. So you have the choice of what to do with your body. You can hang out with who you want to hang out with. No one can take that away from you, okay? They can pretend they do and people follow along. I'm not going to be one of them. We now have this option of a better money that cannot be soiled. It can't be distorted or twisted or controlled. It can't be inflated. No one can dilute you in these cryptos that Richard Hart creates. X is a little different. There's inflation, but it's agreed upon inflation, and it's you can be a part of the inflation. It's up to you to delay gratification and gain over other people with a less time preference, okay? So, or a high time preference. So if they want it sooner, then they want less inflation. You get more if you delay. Now it's even better in Pulsechain and pulsex. In Pulsechain, the total supply is given to everybody right at the beginning, and every trade or every transaction on the Pulsechain network, the 25% of the fee to the validator, which is a small fee, but we're way faster. It's completely removed from supply. It just burns it. So you're never getting diluted unless you consider spending or transacting a lot more than everyone else, reducing your position, then you're kind of doing it. But I assume you're doing something productive with that, so you should be getting more. But you can never get diluted by some actor in the system that just decides to print more without providing any value. And so this is just the new money standard. We and Richard in our community are literally building out the next blockchain base layer one for the whole world. Okay, I think Richard is building this out for the whole world. He believes in human rights. He believes in liberty. He believes in property ownership. He believes in us. He wants us to succeed. No, don't expect any profit from the work of others. And there's deepness to that. You can't expect profit from the work of others because that would be, if you're just expecting things from others that do stuff, well, you're kind of just taking, you're not making anything. And so, what you can take from what he says when he says that is that you can expect profit from your own work. And that's like the best thing in life is reaping what you sow. Like the effort you put out into the world and the goods you produce and the services you provide, you can reap those benefits. That's what Richard's doing. That's what we all should be doing. That's how we create real wealth, everybody. And so it gets me a little little excited talking about this stuff. I really think we're on the verge of like this whole huge breakthrough. I'm so excited to be here with everybody. We're at like the beginning of this new ecosystem for the whole world where a money cannot be arbitrarily changed and afterwards and people aren't just siphoning value from everyone else. Richard is building out that the base layer one, and then we're gonna have the ability to exchange with anyone we want, no counterparty risk, no AML, no KYC. You have your privacy on the blockchain. Richard is building out like all the fundamental principles of what the founding fathers built this country on. Property ownership, freedom of assembly. You can trade with whoever you want. This is amazing stuff, guys. I'm so excited to be a part of this. And you can be a part of this. You still have like 4 days of sacrifice. It's like the 5th right now. Before the 9th of January, the end of the 9th, you still get the best rate. And we have until February 25th to still sacrifice. Now, I'll talk about Pulsechain a little bit here. I went along on the banking stuff for a long time, probably bored the crap out of everybody. But Pulsechain is pretty awesome. We are going to start off at 4x the speed, which means you have 4x the throughput, because we have 3-second blocks instead of 13, versus Ethereum. And that means that you have way less gas fees because the blocks aren't full, and so people were able to get into blocks without paying high gas because there was just room. There's like, yeah, we got plenty of room. Pay me nothing, you can get in. And so everybody can get into these blocks, and for way cheaper. I like to say you can get in for 1/10,000th of a. Is it a billionth? I think it's a billionth of a dollar. So that's like the one-way price transaction if Pulse is 0.0001 dollar, which is what the sacrifice set got the price of Pulse at. So that is super exciting. And I heard Richard say one time, I wish I had the video, but he said that we have the ability. Now, this gets a little technical, but Ethereum doesn't really have a block size limit, kind of like Bitcoin does. We have, like, Bitcoin has a block size limit. We do not, okay? And you're like, well, how does that work? You can't just fit everything in one transaction. Well, the validators and in Ethereum, the miners get to decide what the gas limit is. And that just means how many transactions can you kind of fit in one block. And so you can actually increase the gas limit. This is different than the gas limit you change whenever you go to send a transaction. There's a limit per block of how much gas can fit in a whole block. And if you allow more gas, it's actually just more capacity because more people can add into that same transaction. And the only downside to this for the network is that the validators would need more hard drive space because that would be more information per block. But anyway, we'll get to the cool part. It's 10x. You can 10x the gas limit, which means you can multiply that extra space by the amount of blocks that were faster than Ethereum. So we're actually starting out. We could scale up to 40x the throughput of Ethereum at the start. Isn't that amazing? So we shouldn't have high gas prices for a long time. So that's just awesome. And high trading fee or transfer cost is precipitous to trading in general, and it discourages trading and discourages involvement, less volume, less usage, which if you have something so amazing, you would want people to use it. And so now people can. We can onboard people to this system much easier than Ethereum because you don't have to tell them, yeah, you can get Hex, but it's gonna cost you like $70 to get in. And he's like, well, I was only gonna put in 100, and then so he's gonna start at minus 70%. That's terrible. It's a way easier sell to get people involved in the new money, get away from the fiat currency system. It's trash. People need to be woken up to the understanding of central banking. I only just totally figured it out. I still have much to learn, but from my understanding, it's just been stealing value from people for decades and decades and decades. And now that we have some other option for where we can store our wealth, I don't know why I quoted that, but you can actually store your wealth in crypto. It's better, safer, higher. We have all these higher returns because there's not somebody just coming and printing the inflation arbitrarily all the time. People are like, oh, why is crypto going up? Well, the dollar can just pour into it because they just make trillions of dollars, okay? They just make more. Have you ever made $1 trillion? Well, they make $1 trillion constantly over there. They just print a button, no work, no value added to the world. You've going to work every day for 40 years, and you get less than a guy who goes, $1 trillion today. What? Of course, that doesn't make sense. Why is it the case? It's hard to understand stuff, and it got implemented. Government, it's hard to remove stuff that they decide, And so, what we can do, and one of the peaceful ways of getting out of this mess, I believe, instead of having a war and reset of everyone's money, which is kind of what happens in war, is, oh, we came in and we won and we just reset everybody. That's kind of what happens in the wars. Hopefully, we don't have to do that because now we have crypto, which can't be confiscated. I mean, Richard says he laughs when they say unconfiscatable because there's some for sale by like the federal government because they confiscated it. But what I mean is, it's not like a block of gold in your house and someone can come in if they hold it, they have it. Now, if you're smart with how you split up your seed words and you spread it around, multi signature, it's very unlikely and very difficult for someone to actually confiscate it and have access to the money. And so it's a deterrent for war to even happen once there's nothing to go and conquer and steal. So if you can't get the best asset in the world, which is money, whenever you go to war, what are you going to war for? Maybe the land, but why would those people? We won't go down that rabbit hole, okay? Let's keep it to Pulsechain. I'm getting a little off topic here. But anyway, I know this is a lot of crazy topics. I just had it on my heart to share some of my knowledge about the how terrible central banking is and how crypto is the new money of the world. And I I immediately went and talked to like my family and the people I loved about the terrible nature of the central bank when I understood it. Um, because it's important that people know that there's an opportunity now to get into this stuff. It's not just a normal investment. It's not I mean, it is an investment, but it's not at the same time. So just like how people ran away from inflation to save their buying power, they went into the stock market. You know, I said in my one video that's one of the ways we created to keep scarcity. Like, where can I get scarcity? Crap, there's so much money in the world. I got to go buy something that they can't just print all the time. That's why people went into the stock market. That's why people are going into crypto. But in crypto, it's just better money now. And so you're actually able to store your wealth in a way that can't be arbitrarily changed. And there's no counterparty. How awesome is that? That's the best thing. If you have a stock paper, you know, or something like that, your counterparty might not give you anything for it. You know, it might have no value. It's more easily stolen. Stuff like that. So, you know, trading stock certificates is much worse than digital currency that you can trade around the globe instantaneously. You know, you got the right stuff. Um, and so cryptocurrency is just a better investment overall than the stock market, just for storing wealth. And since it's so new still and people are still figuring it out, that does have this huge speculative nature, and that's why we have these big bubbles um, and, and bursts and stuff. But overall, people who own cryptocurrency, I believe, are going to become the new 0.1%. But it's not like it's going to be the old way where people in the top are just like crushing everybody else below, you know. This is going to lift up way more humans than ever before to this new opportunity that allows people to store their wealth in a unconfiscatable way, less controlled way. Like, no one can dilute your like, if you get some Pulsechain, ain't nobody getting more pulse than you unless they mark it by the price up, increasing how much value your stuff is. And so it becomes extremely valuable over time. And so even people who can only put in $10 or $100 can they can recognize a lot of buying power in the future just by waiting, because technology on its own and human innovation makes things cheaper over time. We get more efficient. Things become easier to produce. And let's get the pulse chain going. Boom! Anyway, so that is the crazy power of cryptocurrency, is that you actually keep your buying power intact over time, even with the volatility. Just look at the chart. It goes up, maybe it comes down, It doesn't go down to zero, guys. That's where fiat goes. Something you can just make and it doesn't provide any value and it's not redeemable for anything. Where's that going to go? That it If you see prices going up in that thing, that means it buys less of it, okay? That means the value of the dollar is going down. You don't want to hold that, in my opinion. Like the getting into crypto, you can change your life, especially now when it's still early. It's hard to understand. It's kind of like the internet back whenever you could just do email. People were like, oh, it's just for email. And people think, oh, crypto, that's just for gamblers. Well, maybe gamblers got in early just because, they go to where price changes a lot. That doesn't mean it's just for that, you know? So we are discovering the power of this over time. Like I've come to understand it. I've come to the realization. Other people have. Richard certainly has. And I'll talk about Richard's, I think, his overall game plan. If time is money and you can create, you're creating value in the world and money is like an actual representation, a reflection of what you've put out into the world and you haven't just printed it and created it. You are creating this amazing basically value for the world whenever you go out and you create something, you innovate. Okay, so Richard has this plan to get everyone in the world on board to this new crypto thing, this new money. And so obviously this is making him more financially powerful. And I think it's a great thing that someone who has made others wealthy with their inventions should have wealth themselves. I think it's crazy when people think, oh, I'm not going to get that because that guy makes more than me. What? You think you should get more for doing less? I don't understand the concept. Anyway, people should be paid like the value that they put out there. So I do think Richard gets his fair share. Like none of us would even be here. What would we be doing? We'd still be getting stolen from the current system without him. Or getting rug pulled or scammed. So this guy has saved so many lives. It's unbelievable. Richard Hart is an amazing guy. I would love to meet him someday. But someone like that, what are they working for? If all we're working for is money, which is equal to time, wouldn't the best use and highest and best use of that money, if you could, would you use that money to buy more time? And not just by spending it to save you some time. What if you use that money to buy technology? You pay people, spend their time working on how we can extend human life, okay? So Richard is on this quest to buy time. And I think it's a noble cause. We all want more time. That's why we work for money so that we have free time. That's what we do the working for, you know? Some of us enjoy our work, some of us don't. Some of us do it to survive because we want more time. We think there's something better in the future. If you didn't think there was any better future, why would you continue? Now, I don't recommend people actually giving up on life. Definitely, we want you here. We want you in this world. That you have much to offer. Sometimes life gets hard, but there is a future out there, and we have technology, and we know that we can extend human life. Why do you think people have medicine nowadays? It's because they like living longer. We didn't just go, any medicine is bad. We think you should just die whenever you're feeling sick, So people who use medicine and don't want longer life. I don't know where the disconnect is there. But basically you're already vying for, hey, I don't want to die yet. I'm going to take this medicine. It can just be that easy, guys. If we figure out more technology to reverse aging, you could probably take a pill and your body's like, you know what? These cells, they die half of the time, and they only They only age at half the rate. So you get to live twice as long in your healthy years. And in that extra time that we develop, we can use that to develop how to live even longer. And so that is an amazing goal I think Richard has. He's on the quest for buying time. And I think that's so cool. And so all of us who are in this pulse chain hex game, as Lit would say, and now pulsex, which is also deflationary, I am so excited for these projects to just absolutely blow up the cryptosphere because Richard knows how to create the best stuff. He understands economics. He understands the central bank. He understands what's wrong with other cryptos, and he takes all the bad stuff away. He puts in the good stuff. It's just gonna be better, guys. You've never seen crypto perform like this. No one's ever seen Hex perform like it did until he created it. He's creating 2 more coins. You think they're gonna not do insane? What are you, crazy? I don't know. So, all right, let's try and wrap this video up. Let's see. We got some more cool stuff to talk about for Pulsechain. So yeah, we got faster, cheaper. It's the layer 1, so you have to have a strong base layer. Like we couldn't scale gold to become the best currency. There's just not, you can't do as much with it. It's not digital. You can't really scale it very well. And so the way they scaled gold was with paper receipts and then counterparty risk. That was the best way to do it. With crypto, no more counterparty risk. It's amazing. And you have quicker finality for when you actually have money in your account. It's just like, okay, 3 seconds, boom, my money. That's amazing. That's crazy, guys. We're so spoiled. People don't understand how it used to be. Like 100 years ago, you were like, oh, I'm waiting for a while here. I gotta travel. I have to like walk multiple miles to the bank. We are so much faster now. So there's insane efficiency. And he's creating the most efficient, fastest blockchain, better than Ethereum 2.0 at launch. Even if Ethereum 2.0 launches, we are crushing them. We have delegation, so you can actually vote with your pulse itself and choose which validators get your pulse. And there's never this issue where the one guy just keeps getting bigger and bigger than everyone else. Because as more people delegate pulse to one guy, then it dilutes those people in that pool, and they get less of the rewards because he's so big. And so it naturally, people will want more yield, and so they will go to the smaller guys and give it to where they'll get more. And so people might be fighting for those smaller, number 32, number 33 validators where they're getting the most bang for their buck because they're one of 10,000, in this example, instead of one of 1 billion in the biggest guy's pool. And so you get more payout, so more yield, which is really cool. Now, since learning about the central banking stuff, I didn't have the time to look into what the APY kind of is for staking or delegating your pulse. But I don't think it's a bad idea to get free, risk-free basically, some of this asset that there will never be more of. In fact, there's less over time. So something that goes up in value over time, that there's less of over time, more scarce. I think you want to hold that. I think that's going to do really well. And if we look at every other layer 1 chain, they've just done phenomenally. Ethereum 16,000x from 30 cents to $4,800. Wow, that's amazing. We got, Tron, and we got AVAX and all those. They've done hundreds of X, okay? And so even if we only get 100x, what can you do with 100x your money? I don't like, not getting in on this stuff is, I don't know what, like, you must have just fallen for the scam talk, and I feel bad for you because I do think these projects are leading the way, like the vanguard for humanity. we With this new money, we are actually able to control and contain our wealth whilst everyone else, they either get hacked, rug pulled, they have, weird inflationary systems, maybe admin keys. Or if you're just using central banking system, that's just terrible. And so we are building wealth in a community that is only growing. As we increase how many people are in our community, we expand our own economic power and mass onto the world. And so think of it this way, if you and 10 friends, you can have any, we can have any currency we want between our friends. We could be like, all right, pencils, that's what we're trading in. But if you ever want to trade with someone outside of your friend group, you maybe they don't accept pencils, okay? So you'd have to do an exchange for something that they value. And so the benefit of having people in your own ecosystem, we'll say Pulse's pencils or something, is as long as everyone agrees that this is the value, because say pencils in this example can't be, randomly created or whatever. It's actually hard money. As long as everyone keeps growing into this pie and making it bigger and bigger and bigger, eventually we become the whole world. Okay? And we all agree on this thing, this new money that is what everyone is fighting for and working for. You're working out in the world to get a reflection of your time and efforts into something that can't be distorted by some random party that just removes the value from you. And so you want something that can't be distorted, can't be changed, something immutable, which is what Richard Hart creates, immutable projects. And so that's what you're fighting for. That's the kind of money you want in this world. We just haven't had the choice before. We've always been using this terrible government currency that they can just remove our value at any whim or whatever. And the people closest to the money printing get it first. Okay? So this new monetary system that Richard's creating, I think, is world-changing innovation. You don't want to miss out on Pulsechain or pulsex. If you can still get in the sacrifice, I'm not a financial advisor, but I went into the sacrifice pretty hard. This was supposed to be, I was going to do episodes, but maybe I'll just freaking make this one big video and people can enjoy that. So, Pulsechain, what else we got? There's going to be 33 validators. You can delegate, you get percentage. That's pretty cool. No one's ever done that before for any chain. That's actually like a huge innovation. So you're able to actually make yield on this layer 1 without having counterparty risk. And you're also voting, a democracy of who deserves to be a validator. Okay, this guy, he has felonies and he's done bad stuff on the chain. We're not going to vote for him. We don't want people messing around with our money on there, so we just vote for the people who are doing a good job. And so you get to choose, which we're not really used to doing with our money. Here's a crazy statistic about taxes. People think, oh, taxes is a red herring the government uses. This is just, I'm going to give you some facts here. It's not like a conspiracy theory. So, it's in 2019, if you taxed every U.S. corporation 100% of their profits, they don't get to keep anything. Government takes it all, 100%. You would get $2.25 trillion in taxes from all the U.S. corporations combined. Okay, they printed $5 trillion. The majority of the government revenue is from it's from inflating the supply and just increasing the prices of everything. It's terrible. And they act like, oh, if we had more taxes, we could get more done. It's, you guys have the printer and you do use it. And why do you keep raising taxes on these business people who are actually the ones creating value in the world? They're creating jobs. They're creating wealth, like real wealth. They're not just printing money. And so they're taking more money from those people, and then the poor people are upset at the rich people because they have more than them. And it's kind of this red herring of, oh, if we had more taxes, then everything would be better. It's not the case. If they couldn't print money, I think everything would be better. But good luck trying to change that. So we have to vote with our money to this new monetary system that can't be distorted, it can't be warped by government interference. No one has enough control to do that. And so Richard Hart is creating this amazing system. It's cheap for everyone to use. You can get it coming up in the next couple of months, very early. Like, we are so early. Like, tell your friends, tell your family, share this video. If you haven't liked the video, please do that. Like, comment, subscribe. I like going through all my comments. Um, Hit the bell. This is world changing stuff Richard's working on. Ethereum, the fees are too high. Richard has a solution. He's created it. And if he ever has to improve it again, you're like, oh, crypto changes so quick. What if the next best thing comes out? Then we just fork it, and everyone who has economic energy on this system, we just go to the next one. We have value there now. You just update over time. And so I think this is the best money in the world that's coming out, and that's where I want to store my wealth. And so I think, I encourage people I care about to lose their exposure to the dollar and gain exposure to this wealth generating machine. Because this isn't just about, oh, give me that 100x, can't wait. Because eventually the fiat dollar will fail, and you're not going to be denominating stuff in dollars anymore. You're going to want to be holding these assets that can't be changed. Like, no one's going to be accepting dollars for, like, they're not going to be like, stable coin, that's terrible. So nobody wants that stuff. Why do you think everything that's not a stablecoin just kind of crushes it and goes up in value? It's because they're not able to print it. And so something that's even deflationary by nature is just going to go up in the value of the things that they can keep printing. It's going to keep going up in that value. So I want to encourage everyone to read more about Pulsechain, learn about Richard Hart, look into pulsex, participate in the sacrifice if you do your own research. I hope this video wasn't too long-winded. I've done like 20 takes of this thing. And so I hope everyone has had an awesome start to their new year. Thanks for watching. And I'll try and make another more specific to Pulsechain video coming up. I know everyone was wanting the Pulsechain video, but I had to get the word out about the central banking. I hope I portrayed how the theft is being done and how we can escape it. That's the hope. I didn't want to just depress everybody. I was been a little bit down just thinking about how everyone I've known for years and years and years has been a victim of this system, and not how money was meant to be. It's not how it always was. It's only been since the central bank has been introduced. But since it's all we've ever known, we never know any different. And so giving control of money back to the people in the free market, getting to choose where it goes and what they're going to do with it, and no one can take their value away from them by diluting them. This is a new, as Crypto Heartbeat would say, a new renaissance. We are going into a new golden age of humanity if we fight back against the authoritative nature of the current system. And we just have to vote with our money, because if we have money that no one can take away, they have to get our vote. You can't take our money away anymore. You can't just get stuff done without us. If we stop believing in the dollar, where are they getting their buying power from? Who are they gonna influence? They're gonna need crypto. And so they're gonna need our money. They're gonna need our efforts. We have so much power if we take it for ourselves. So you have to be active in this. You have to want it. You have to be knowledgeable enough about the stuff, which is hard to do. I know the central banking stuff is so convoluted and not explained in school, obviously. If it was, we wouldn't allow it. And so you got to get people educated on this stuff. I'm probably going to I'm going to release this other Telegram. It's going to be a new Telegram channel. It's not a group, so no one else gets to talk in it, and I'll just post stuff of kind of like the raw resources that I've found that have helped me understand this kind of stuff. And so you can watch the raw stuff that is just mind-blowing, You get into it, can change your life, change your understanding of stuff. Knowledge really is power if you use it. And so I want to use my knowledge to help everyone else out there, especially in Hexaco, in the Hexagon land, and everyone in this community. I think we all deserve something better, and I want everyone to understand it as well as I do. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. K for K signing out. I love you guys. Thanks for all the support. Follow me on Twitter, K for K Crypto. Anyway, peace out, everybody. Oh, there's a button.